What is the best exercise to achieve pectoral hypertrophy? Look at this. Yeah. Looking good, yeah? Well, I'm not sure if I'm the best guy to ask this question from, but anyway, I know your answer. I can tell you what's the best exercise I have found to achieve pectoral hypertrophy. That's gonna be the floor flies. The best exercise, in my opinion, for hypertrophy of the pectorals is a fly. But it's very tricky because I don't do flies. The only thing, well, one of the major things I got from doing flies is a chronic shoulder inflammation. I find flies extremely harmful, and not just for myself, but also for my clients. 40 to 60% of my clients, and this is a high number, immediately reacts to flies with a shoulder inflammation, lasting for a week or even more. Finish the flies, week later, still in pain, right? They're sort of coming out of it, but they're still in pain. So I do not do flies. We used to do flies with rings. I love it. It's amazing. That activation in the pecs is just absolutely insane, but it hurts your shoulder. Why does it hurt your shoulder? Because you're going, the exercise itself encourages you to go way beyond the movement range of the shoulder. The range of motion, what you're exercising, is not the range of motion what your pecs can serve. Okay, so because the pecs don't go down to the elbow, the pectoralis, they finish right up here. So once your shoulder is back in its socket and in the level of the torso right here, your pecs are not stretching anymore. That's it, that's the end of it. You can get the chest out a little bit to get a little stretch, but that's it, that's the end of the game. If you go any deeper than that, that's loading the delts, right, the front delt, and also sort of popping and stretching the shoulder joint out of its socket. Definitely a no-go. Do not do it. It's harmful. It is extremely dangerous. Now you just stepped on a landmine, my friend, by getting me talking about this topic, because I can see this all the time. The reason I have the cam there in the corner is because you can see this pole here. I see a lot of people stretching their chest and shoulders this way. You never do that. Never ever do that. The problem with this one is that you're essentially stretching nothing but the shoulder capsule and the front delt, because again, the scapula, the end range of the scapula, the movement, it finishes here. From here you're not retracting anything, especially not if you're relaxed and trying to stretch, right? You're not pulling the chest, you're not pulling anything, just one single muscle and the joint under, and probably parts of the rotator cuff as well. Now we're talking about small muscles, you know, not just in my case, but also compared to the size of the pectoralis. The rotator cuff is definitely small, but the front delt is small as well. So you don't want to stretch them. That's because it's just a high injury risk, because you're stretching a shoulder capsule. A mobile joint like the shoulders or your hips, they don't really need mobilization of stretching most of the time. Most of the time what's happening is the stable joint down or up the line is stuck or immobile, and so the mobile joint is not able to do its job, and that's why it feels like it's restricted, because there is no stability. In case of the shoulder, there is no stability coming from the scaps, so the shoulder has to be tight to protect itself, right? So stretching the shoulder this way doesn't sort the issue. What sorts out the issue is externally rotating your shoulder, your arm, right? Which stabilizes the shoulder joint. Now, if I want to, I cannot slam it through. If I internally rotate or I just let it hang loose, I can slam it through. If I externally rotate, I cannot slam it through. That's it, it stays here. That's the range of movement I have. If I push into it, I can feel my scaps working, my scapulars squeezing, and I can feel my chest stretching up here, all the pecs, right? Now look at the range of motion I'm having here. It's right in the level of my torso. That's as far as I can go. If I get my fingers right in front of the camera so you can see it in the corner of the wall and I rotate into it, that's a massive stretch right now. And this is as far as I can go. As opposed to this. It already doesn't feel good in the shoulders. So that is just a stretch. I'm not even loading into the movement. When you're loading into the movement with the flies, you have to make sure that you have some sort of stability under you. Because in the stretching positions like this, and when you're doing cable flies, you can do that. You can externally rotate to stabilize that shoulder and then pull from there, right? Makes a lot of sense. You're much more stable. You're not much less likely to injure your shoulder because you're stabilizing it with external rotation. So you're not stretching and loading into the capsule and the relatively weak deltoids, but you're trying to execute the movement with the strong pecs. So you could do this, you could try this with cable machine. I never tried it. It might actually works, but be very careful with it. What I found that it works is that I lay down on the floor, because when I lay down on the floor, I'm not able to go beyond the level of my torso because there's the floor in the way. So my elbow stops there, right? And when you're holding dumbbells, it's really hard to get that external rotation and move it this way. It's just not a natural movement which you would do whatsoever. So that's one of the things. The other thing is also the pectoralis. It doesn't just adducts and reaches out, it also internally rotates. So if you're constantly having an external rotation in the movement, you will never be able to completely squeeze the muscles you're trying to hypertrophy. And if you're not squeezing the muscles, you're not gonna be able to hypertrophy them either, because you don't get the full contraction and the full stretch, right? You might get the full stretch, but you don't get the full contraction. That's not gonna get you there. It's not so effective, is it? So in order for you to set a safety barrier on the exercise, holding the dumbbells, going down to the end range of the movement, you need to get down on the floor. So get down on the floor, bend your knees 90 degrees, keep the feet flat, solid on the floor. Same approach like you would be squatting. The feet has to be flat and strong, solid on the floor, because you're gonna pull power up from it. Squeeze the ass, squeeze the abs, brace. Grab 2 pairs of dumbbells. Don't go Jesus, go Wolverine. From here, you're gonna pick that up, bring it over the nose, put it back down. Not Jesus, Wolverine. Okay, I find this exercise the best, the absolute best for pectoral hypertrophy. Works with me fantastic, although it's not visible right now. It works with my clients, absolutely fantastic. On them it's much more visible. So yeah, done. The most effective movement for pectoral hypertrophy would be fly, but it's also the most dangerous movement as well. So you need to make sure you're securing yourself. You need to make sure that you have the floor under you. I don't do flies on benches. I'm a weird guy. I'm quite happy to do heavy bench press on medicine balls. Use them as benches. I use beer kegs as benches for heavy bench presses, but I do not use any elevated surface for flies. In fact, when I'm going fucking heavy for the pecs, I use the floor as a safety always. So we have floor presses with the heavy dumbbells. We have the flies are always happening from the floor. So that is cool. Now one thing what I also find with this type of movement, with the adducted raise, that you can go for something like a cross raise. So this is usually in the same conditioning exercise block, that I lay down, I do the flies, right? And then I stand up and dumbbell in the hand, I raise it and bring it across. This is something I took from Jeff Cavalier of Athlenex. He calls it cross raise, I call it shoulder torture. Bring it up because it gets this movement gets your front delt to work together with the pectorals, and they really do like to work together with the pectorals. Now if I'm already here getting the pectorals and the front delt to work together, why not to involve the rest of the shoulder? And then so what I would do, I would stand on one leg. Why not to train the balance as well? So let me come back. I would stand on one leg and one hand to the side, one hand forward, and then this one, then switch the leg and switch the hand. So the entire exercise block looks like this: cross raise, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and you can do as many reps as you want. I did just one each of them, but then, you know, if you wrap it up, you would be 8 cross raises, and then get to these one. Notice when I'm doing delt raises, make sure that my thumb points to the sky. It's not because I like it so much, it's because I'm externally rotated from my shoulders, which helps me to stabilize the shoulder joint, get some thoracic extension, train into proper posture, and make my pecs look even bigger. Thank you for watching. Please like the video, leave your own comment. If you have any more questions, ask them on Quora, ask them on YouTube, ask them on Facebook. You might be lucky enough to get me to answer them. Subscribe to the channel and don't hit the notification button. Thank you for watching. Share. Goodbye.